My name is Jonty from Lucid Chocolatier and welcome to Piura. This time we're going to take you on an adventure through one of Peru's most unique departments right up in the north, Piura. What's it famous for? Cacao, desert, and people on horses with white hats. This time we're on a mission to investigate this northernmost department and figure out what makes it click. We're going to be visiting co-ops, independent farmers, chocolate makers to figure out what makes everything here so special. So come along, enjoy the journey. I hope you learned something about the wonderful world of cacao, and I hope you feel inspired to try some chocolate. Hello, lovely people.
Hi guys.
We've just landed here in Piura and we've come to one of the oldest co-ops known as CoOp Norandino. We've come to learn a little bit about their cacao, a little bit about what makes them so special. Norandino was actually my first ever supplier of Peruvian beans. Been doing a bit of a tour and we've arrived in the area where they bring all of their finished beans ready for sale. So all around me you can see these beautiful containers filled with different cacao beans. And something I've learned is that Norandino works not only with cacao from Piura, but from a lot of different departments as well.
Over the years, Norandino has automated all of their processes, from drying and sorting beans to making cacao paste and chocolate. They also have their own laboratory and a testing station, allowing them to produce quality products consistently.
So what we have here is known as a cut test. This is some of their premium beans. And what this test is done for is to test and assess the fermentation or the success of the fermentation. This co-op in particular is looking for 60 to 65% fermentation.
In this case, you can see some beans that are perfectly fermented because these are white beans that actually look brown when they are correctly fermented. But there are also white beans that have been under fermented. Actually, I think these beans will make very good chocolate.
Me too. They smell incredible.
We had the pleasure of meeting some members of the Guarani tribe from Ecuador. They traveled down to Norandino with the goal of selling their cacao. They only received modern human contact 70 years ago, so they're still adapting their way of life. After tasting chocolate, a beautiful cultural exchange took place, and I was given handmade gifts utilizing parrot feathers from the jungle.
So apparently I'm married now.
Yeah.
Oh well, unlucky ladies in New Zealand, I guess.
Oh yeah.
These guys are a mammoth, you know, they're very, very big scale, much bigger than I expected. Mainly the volume that they're moving, it's crazy. They're doing 150 metric tons this year of just cacao paste, and that makes up about 60% of their overall cacao volume. And this was a bad year. They're working with 15 different origins from across Peru. What we've witnessed is right up there in terms of what a co-op is capable of doing. Moving forward, we've got a few different places to go and see. This one has been at the very, one end of the spectrum. Next up, we're going to go see a chocolate maker who's local to Piura. Maybe even go and find their hats. We're here in Cacao in search of a beautiful northern sombrero. There's lots of vendors around, so we're going to take a look. Come along. 572. Yep. Oh, we found a pretty nice looking store, so we're going to go check it out. This is the spot. Close, yeah. Okay, we try this one. This is a good one. I kinda want to try the red stripe. I think we found it.
Pero lo que harán primero ver mi taita y en el templo y no olviden
olvidar mis antimas, milagrosito en mi pueblo, y no olvidar mis
When I was born, it was the happiest day of my mother's life, and probably my father too. My other two brothers, not so much.
How did you start with chocolate? What was your first contact with chocolate?
I couldn't get a job and I couldn't get training. So I brought all of my own chocolate with my own money, and I started to learn to make bonbons in my flat. And eventually I taught myself how to do some okay production. And I entered a big competition for like any chef.
Entró en una competencia grande de chocolatería para un montón de chefs.
And I won the competition. And then I taught myself to make bean to bar when I was working as a chocolatier at home. I go to work and then I come home and I had my mélangeur.
Okay.
Y este es el de chocolate blanco con maracuyá.
Okay, white chocolate with passion fruit. Okay, let's go. Cheers. Cheers. Chocolate is amazing.
Esta trufa es la que más se vende. Excelente.
No, but
It's just very good.
Es la que más se vende. Me gusta bastante el maracuyá.
la maracuyá además va muy bien con el chocolate. Es una de las frutas que mejor combina con el chocolate.
What we've got going on here is we're at Maha Pure and they're producing some truffles for the Salon del Cacao next weekend. The one that we've got here is a very special one. It's a truffle made with a local mango variety and milk chocolate for the filling. On the exterior we've got some milk chocolate and a little bit of bee pollen as well. To stabilize the filling, they're also using some local honey. So everything that comes from here, including the panela, including the beans to make the chocolate, comes from within a very small radius. So this is a true origin truffle. I'm very excited to try it because mango is one of my favorite fruits. So Aurelio and I, we're going to have a little taste. The ganache is so delicate, soft, just hot off the press.
Very creamy.
Very creamy.
El ganache es una mezcla de frutas pues, con la pulpa.
Okay. ¿Con qué? ¿Con chocolate blanco, con manteca?
Este es con chocolate al 49%.
49.
Ajá. Y le tenemos con polen. Igual se baña al 49.
Algarrobina. So mesquite, remember the mesquite?
Yes.
The mesquite honey
Okay.
is this one. But
Okay.
on the outside is covered with maca flour.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
I've never tried
this
this.
is the most powerful one because it's very energetic. No?
Okay.
Are you ready to try it?
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it. Okay. Let's do it.
Aquí para que
Okay. Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.
The texture, very good. We said that at the same time.
Great minds, you know.
The crunch from the outside is really, really good. The filling is
El crujiente del exterior lo hacen con el algarrobo mezclado con la maca.
Es la maca. Lo de
¿El
afuera
crocante?
solamente sí,
Perfect
papel de
texture.
maca.
El papel de maca.
Welcome to La Camazon. We're here with Joe. He's a farmer who's going to be taking us around his farm to show us what he does. We've got some beautiful fresh beans on the back that we're going to go and start a fermentation with. This morning we took some off. We've been treated to some delicious food and hospitality. So off we go.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Joe's putting in these freshly finished fermented beans. We're going to take them over to the drying area. They're beautifully warm. You might even be able to see some of the steam coming off them and the smell. Of course, it's a little bit acidic, but it's very pleasant. It's like a lot of fermentations that I've smelled don't have super pleasant flavors at this point in time. but these are very, very good. Beautiful. Look at that. Haven't even had my morning coffee yet. I'm covered in fermentation juice. Couldn't be happier. So we wanted to do a little bit of an explanation as to what you might be seeing here if you didn't know too much about fermentation or things like of that nature. So here we have some beans that have not been fermented at all, and as you see, they might appear to the untrained eye to be white beans. These ones, why are these brown? What's happened? Why are they brown? Why are these what we want? Acid has gradually cooked the beans and turned them brown, and during that part of the fermentation, that's when all of the flavor penetrates the cacao and gives it all the beautiful flavor notes that, if you know a craft chocolate, then you'll be familiar with. These ones don't have any of that. They haven't been fermented at all, and they would taste very astringent. They don't have flavor qualities that we'd consider desirable in the chocolate world. This takes a lot of skill to do this well, to harvest the beans at the right time, to ensure the fermentation can actually get up inside of the beans. Then the knowledge as well, to take the correct temperatures, to do it for the right time. In this instance, Joe's adding juice back to the beans to ensure that you get a really strong, cohesive flavor, removing all of the beans that are going to add impurities. These are things that, as a chocolate maker, I have almost no control over apart from selecting who I buy from. And so, you know, this takes a lot of skill. This takes absolutely none. And that's why this is worth so much more in the eyes of a chocolate maker.
Soy Joe Huachez, estamos en La Pareja, en el distrito San Juan de Bigote. Nosotros somos productores de cacao. Aquí estamos trabajando en el tema del cacao blanco y toda la transformación del cacao. La historia del cacao en Piura es una historia de tradición. Este cacao ha sido heredado de padres a hijos y ahora nosotros estamos generándole valor. Soy hijo de productor, ya tenemos como 3 generaciones de cacauteros. Yo empecé de pequeño en la parcela, siempre cosechábamos cacao. En ese tiempo no le generábamos valor al cacao, solo lo secábamos sin fermentar. No hacíamos chocolate, no sabíamos para qué servía, ¿no? Empezamos a aprender fermentación, selección de granos. Lo que nosotros estamos haciendo ahora de manera sostenible es trabajar con los productores, pagarles precios buenos y también hacer sostenible el negocio. Y clientes que paguen el precio para poder hacer procesos buenos, tener calidad superior.
Okay, so what we've got here are beans that have been brought to Joe from farmers around the area. He's received them as wet sacks of cacao, and he's doing all the fermentation and drying process himself here because he knows what he's doing and he does a very good job. So what we've been doing over the past couple of minutes is essentially going through the wet cacao and pulling out any sort of defects that we see that could impact the overall quality of the fermentation.
These are Phytophthora beans, so they're a little black and rough on the outside, and many times they have pasted, like this case over here. They will add a bad flavor to the whole batch, so we need to separate it before fermentation. And also we can see here a big bunch of germinated beans. So the thing is that if we add this to our batch, it's going to have a fibrous texture, so we don't want it in there. And also this is a highly contaminant risk. Cacao beans are like eggs. So eggs, they have salmonella on the outside, on the shell, but the inside is protected by the shell, by the cuticula. Okay, so the cacao beans are the same. The cacao beans are protected by their shell. But what happens when it germinates, and after drying, most of the germs fall, they leave an opening. Then they leave an opening, and through that opening, the aspergillus, the mold, the bread mold, goes inside the cacao, contaminating it. You have a few beans like this, and you'll ruin the whole batch for a fine chocolate. Yeah, this is a cut bean. Yeah. ¿Cuánto tiempo tiene la granja más antigua? So the oldest farm in his family is 120 years old. Okay. So Cacao was around this area. And then, tampoco había mucho.
No, nada.
¿Dónde estaba? ¿Más abajo?
No, nomás estaban en la rinconada de allá nomás.
En la rinconada.
Nada más.
So because of the weather here, if you don't take care of the cacao, it will die. Okay. So probably it was brought maybe thousands of years ago, and the cacao survived in las hibernas. Las hibernas, ¿no? In las hibernas. The hibernas are like the little water canals.
Okay, yeah,
So next to the little water canals, the cacao trees survived. And that's where they started, bringing the cacao to the farms and started planting them.
Madera.
Madera. For him, it's like wood. What do you think?
Yeah, I understand the woodiness, but I definitely think it's along the realm of like a soft melon flavor. Which
Melon.
obviously is
And
definitely-
a little bit floral, maybe.
yeah, a little bit floral for sure. It smells like some of the best cacao, you know, similar to some of the
Similar. Yeah, usually the pulp of very good cacao, the aromas are very soft because you don't want them to be invasive and change too much the flavor of the beans.
Definitely not citric.
Not citric.
Not citric.
Este cacao parece de una genética muy antigua, dice Jonty. Parece una genética antigua. ¿Es realmente una genética antigua? Porque ya no veo muchos de estos marroncitos por acá, ¿no? La mayoría son así verdes. La mayoría son verdes, ¿no? Yeah, okay, yes. He says that this is a very old genetic, and right now most of the cacaos that you see look like this, green and big.
After sampling some of Piura's most heirloom genetics at Joe's uncle's farm, we are off to see one of the oldest farms in the area and possibly in all of Peru. Joe and other locals believe some of the trees here have survived for not hundreds, but thousands of years, and I'm very excited to see for myself.
So we're here at the Lopez family farm. Joe has brought us here very kindly to show us this specific tree. The reason that we've come to look at this specific tree is because it's very, very old. You'll notice at the root or the base of the tree, there's so many different shoots, and those can only occur after many, many years of growth. About 20 or 30 meters behind us is actually the river that flows through, and the trees here in Piura have adapted to grow very, very deep roots to be able to survive throughout the dry season. So who knows how deep the root structure of this tree goes, but this is a very special specimen, and I can't speak for saying that I've been to many, many cacao farms in my life, but Aurelio has, and so Aurelio, if you want to share some thoughts on maybe how old the tree is.
Yeah, well, it looks pretty old. It's impossible to know, you know. When you travel around the jungle, you're gonna see many cases like this that you can't really pinpoint how old the tree is, because usually when a cacao tree grows, the main trunk will fall and a new trunk will grow naturally.
This is a perfect example of an ancient heirloom cacao of the area.
So this is very impressive, you know. I didn't know that there was such a thing here yet. Obviously in Cusco, they've been developing this or working very hard to develop this, but here we have it, this ancient tree with 100% white genetics. Crazy.
So something that makes the cacao here in Piura so unique is the soil conditions that the trees grow in. And not only grow, but thrive. So if you notice in front of me, we're in a beautiful cacao farm with some very old genetics, and we have sand. These trees here, they have adapted over a very, very long period of time to be able to survive in the sandy soil. Joe told me that these trees here can actually survive for 3 months, which is about 90 days without water, which is crazy. And it's just another thing that makes the cacao here from Piura so unique. And part of me wonders if it's something that adds to the, I guess, the formulation of the beans that we find in Piura with a lower fat, higher solids count that makes them so pungent and so full of flavor.
This genetic is the result of many years of selectively breeding the ancient local varieties in pursuit of flavor, aroma, and white bean count.
So this is the type of naturally occurring, material similar to cotton from this beautiful sabo tree behind us. We just stopped on the roadside to have a look, and it's some of the softest material I've felt in my life, I reckon. Beautiful, gentle, pulls apart almost. It reminds me of sheep wool. Very similar. It's very dense, and then it kind of comes apart like this. You can see it's all over the show, and it's so soft. Imagine it would make beautiful clothing or blankets or pillows. Naturally white. Smells like the desert air. Yeah, how cool.
Now we are venturing farther from civilization to meet Jose Francisco, president of Apricot Co-op.
They have gone again to the show this year, and they say they are in the top 10 again this year.
Okay.
So last year they won the best cacao in all of Peru, the prize.
And this is the prize for the raw bean, yeah?
For the raw bean. They have cacao fermenting.
Fermenting.
So
All right,
show
let's
us.
go. Let's go. Vámonos.
Yo soy el señor José Francisco Arquínigo Sánchez, socio y actualmente presidente de la cooperativa agraria APROCAP. El agricultor dejaba todo al profesional, al ingeniero, al gerente, ¿no? Entonces, en vez de dar un paso hacia adelante, daba un paso hacia atrás y dejaba tú anda, tú haz. Y mucha gente viene por ganar su dinero, pero nada de corazón. Y ahora en esta época, gracias a Dios, nosotros estamos manejando la cooperativa. Este año y el año pasado, por el fenómeno climatológico como el YAC, por demasiada lluvia, disminuyeron la producción de cacao. El año pasado tuvimos solamente una producción de 34 toneladas, ¿no? Que es muy poco. Mayormente nosotros estamos proyectados entre 50 y 60 toneladas al año. Y este año también vamos con un promedio de 12 porque la producción en las parcelas es muy poco. Pero hemos conversado con las empresas compradoras de cacao internacionales que ya no solamente vamos a vender cacao orgánico, sino vamos a meter en el rubro también de cacao convencional. Y no solamente comprar a los socios, sino también comprar a otros señores que no están inscritos, no son asociados, pero que también tienen cacao. Yo nunca he visto esos precios tan exorbitantes, ¿no? Que se han estado dando a nivel nacional y mundial. Imagínense que ahora ya no hay cacao orgánico, cacao convencional, todo es un mismo precio, ¿no? Y tenemos que nivelarnos con los compradores informales que ellos prácticamente dan el precio. Un kilo de cacao en baba, que se pagaba 3.80 o 4 soles, hemos llegado a pagar hasta 15 soles. Imagínense, era una locura. Y los chocolateros que producen chocolate fino, mi respeto para ellos, porque buscan la calidad. ¿Y qué hacen con comprar el producto de calidad? Hace que el productor se interese más por producir ese tipo de cacao.
So right now, we're in Jose's farm. This farm produced the beans that earned the prize for the best cacao in last year's Salon of Cacao and Chocolate here in Peru. The best cacao in the whole country. And it came from this farm. We're in a very special place, and we wanted to share it with all of you.
Nos encontramos actualmente en mi parcela. Es una parcela de 4 hectáreas de puro cacao, donde podemos apreciar un cacao ancestral, antiguo, cacao blanco, de variedad criolla, ¿no? también llamada cacao blanco fino de aroma, ¿no? Que es esta pequeña, y también tenemos un cacao ya con un patrón de una variedad trinitaria y que después ha sido injertada con un cacao de yema blanca. Vemos la diferencia que antiguamente como el cacao era más pequeño y ahora con el injerto el cacao es más grande, ¿no? Pero lo estamos haciendo para tener una mayor producción y sobre todo que no perdamos la calidad, ¿no? La calidad del cacao blanco que siempre tenemos y que por el cual la mayoría de comerciantes y chocolateros nos buscan, ¿no? Vemos la diferencia, pero uno tiene más producción, digamos, en cantidad, el otro menos, pero este tiene más calidad, que muchas veces la calidad se preserva más que la cantidad. Compadre, yo soy de Huacho, tierra de don Dionisio el cigarrero, donde se amarraba con salchicha al perro, donde San Martín por primera vez proclamó la libertad. Y si dicen que los huachanos son de la cría, no cree usted, compadre, qué barbaridad. Lo que pasa es que tienen envidia porque no hay otra tierra como la mía.
What I saw in Piura was a department with a lot of character, a lot of unique attributes, and exceptional cacao with passionate people who are really trying to push the brand of Piura cacao. Piura for me was easily the most unique growing climate that I've visited and probably will visit for a long time. The dry, arid-like climate, you know, as you're driving through Piura, it doesn't really make any sense that there's cacao growing there until you actually arrive at the plantations. So I think in the future, there's going to be a lot more of this beautiful cacao to go around. And I think with the likes of Joe, CoOp Norandino, fueling the quality, fermentation and drying processes, I think it's only going to get better and better and more notorious across the world for being an exceptional cacao.